Have you ever felt lost, like everything was going wrong? Our story begins in a time of great famine. Naomi's family, her husband and two sons, had to leave their home in Bethlehem and move to a foreign land called Moab. "Is this really Naomi?" they asked. But Naomi, full of sadness, told them, "Don't call me Naomi," which means pleasant. "Call me Mara," which means bitter, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. They had arrived with nothing, just the clothes on their backs. They were poor and had no way to get food. But Ruth was not one to give up. It was the beginning of the barley harvest, and she said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor." In those days, it was a custom to allow the poor to follow the harvesters and collect any grain that was dropped. This was called gleaning. So Ruth went out to the fields. As it happened, she ended up in a field belonging to a man named Boaz, who was a wealthy and respected relative of Naomi's late husband. And just then, Boaz himself arrived from Bethlehem. He greeted his workers and noticed Ruth gleaning in the distance. He asked his foreman, "Who does that young woman belong to?" The foreman explained that she was the Moabite woman who had come back with Naomi, and that she had worked tirelessly all day, taking only a short rest. Boaz was immediately impressed. He had heard all about Ruth's loyalty to Naomi, how she had left her own family and country to care for her mother-in-law. Boaz went directly to Ruth and spoke to her with incredible kindness. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." That day, Boaz not only protected Ruth, but also invited her to eat with his harvesters. He gave her roasted grain, so much that she had leftovers, and he secretly told his men to pull out some stalks of barley from their bundles and leave them for her to find. When Ruth finished her work that evening, she had collected a huge amount of barley. She hurried back to Naomi, showed her all the grain, and gave her the leftovers from her meal. Naomi was astonished. "Where did you glean today?" she asked. "Who was so good to you?" When Ruth told her the man's name was Boaz, Naomi's face lit up. "The Lord bless him," she exclaimed. "That man is our close relative. He is one of our kinsman redeemers." A kinsman redeemer was a male relative who had the responsibility to help a family member in need, which could include marrying a widow to carry on the family name. Suddenly, a little spark of hope appeared. Naomi saw a plan forming, a way that God could provide for them. She advised Ruth to continue gleaning only in Boaz's fields, where she would be safe. So Ruth worked in Boaz's fields through the entire barley and wheat harvests. And at the end of it all, Naomi came up with a bold plan. She told Ruth to wash, put on perfume, and wear her best clothes. Then she was to go down to the threshing floor where Boaz would be working late. Naomi instructed her, "Wait until he has finished eating and drinking and lies down to sleep. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do." This was a traditional and symbolic way of asking for protection and marriage. It was a big, brave step for Ruth, but she trusted Naomi completely. That night, Ruth did exactly as Naomi had said. In the middle of the night, Boaz woke up with a start and found a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am your servant Ruth," she replied. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a kinsman redeemer." Boaz was deeply moved by her action. He knew this showed her commitment not just to him, but to honoring her late husband's family. He told her there was one male relative who was closer than him. But if that man wouldn't do his duty, Boaz swore he would. The very next morning, Boaz went to the town gate, where business was done. He gathered the elders and the other relative and explained the situation. The other relative was not willing to redeem the land and marry Ruth, so he passed his right to Boaz. In a public ceremony, Boaz declared his intention to marry Ruth. And God blessed them even more. Soon, Ruth gave birth to a baby boy named Obed. The women of the town rejoiced with Naomi, saying, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a kinsman redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age." Naomi, who once called herself bitter, was now filled with joy, holding her grandson in her arms. And you know who that baby Obed grew up to be? He became the father of Jesse, who was the father of King David, the greatest king of Israel. And if you trace that family line all the way down, you'll find it leads directly to Jesus. A woman from a foreign land, through her incredible loyalty and faith, became a great, many times great-grandmother of the Savior of the world. Isn't that just incredible? Throughout this story, we can even imagine nature itself helping Ruth. Gentle donkeys might have helped carry the heavy bags of grain back to Naomi, and maybe little birds, seeing her hard work, flew down and dropped a few extra seeds in her path. So what can we learn from Ruth's amazing story? It's all about loyalty, faithfulness, and love. Ruth stuck by Naomi when it would have been easier to leave. She worked hard and trusted God even when she had nothing. And because of her faithfulness, God blessed her in ways she could never have imagined. He gave her a loving husband, a new family, and a special place in history. Her story reminds us that when we are loyal to the people God has placed in our lives and faithful to Him, He sees it. He rewards it. He can turn our bitterest moments into the sweetest joys. So, no matter what you're going through, remember Ruth. Stay loyal, stay faithful, and watch how God blesses you in big ways. Thanks for listening, and have a blessed day. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.